girlfriend laughed about cheating on me, saying I'd never suspect a thing, so I quietly left and let her life fall apart without me. Tuesday started like any other. I'm a 27-year-old software developer working for a startup, so my days are usually long and packed. I've been pulling late nights for weeks trying to hit a ridiculous deadline for a project that kept getting delayed because management couldn't make up their minds. My girlfriend, Kay, had been supportive, or so I thought. She'd always tell me how proud she was that I worked so hard and that we were building something together for our future. Hearing that kept me going most days, even when I felt completely drained. Kay and I had been together for almost 3 years. We lived in a small apartment downtown, not fancy, but cozy. She worked part-time as a waitress and was finishing her degree. Between her finals and my workload, things had been a bit strained, but I figured that was normal for any couple. We'd argue here and there, but I thought it was just regular relationship stuff. I never once questioned her loyalty. Why would I? She always seemed devoted, even if we'd been distant lately. That day, I had a rare early finish at work. My boss canceled an afternoon meeting, and since I'd already put in more than enough hours for the week, I decided to call it a day. I thought, why not surprise Kay? I swung by her favorite Chinese takeout spot and grabbed her go-to order, sweet and sour chicken, fried rice, and egg rolls. I figured we could have a quiet night together for once, maybe watch a movie or just hang out like we used to before life got so hectic. I parked my car outside the building, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. It was one of those rare moments where I felt like I was actually doing something right, not for work, but for us. The walk up to our apartment felt like a relief, like I was leaving the stress of the office behind for a night. I was looking forward to seeing her smile when I showed up with her favorite food. But as soon as I reached our floor, something felt off. The door to our apartment was slightly ajar. At first, I thought maybe she was airing the place out or forgot to close it all the way. Kay could be forgetful sometimes, especially when she was juggling school, work, and her part-time shifts. But still, it was weird. My heart skipped a beat, and I hesitated for a second before stepping inside. I walked in quietly, my ears immediately picking up voices, hers, clear as day, and another voice, male. My first thought was, who the hell is that? But then I calmed myself down. Maybe it was one of her classmates or a friend from work. I didn't want to jump to conclusions and look like an idiot for assuming the worst. Still, something about the tone of their conversation made my stomach churn. They weren't just chatting, they were laughing. Her laugh, but not the kind I was used to hearing. It was sharper, almost mocking. I set the takeout bags on the counter as quietly as I could and crept down the short hallway that led to the living room. Their voices got louder. At first, I couldn't make out what they were saying, but then I heard her clear as day. He has no idea. My chest tightened. My brain immediately started trying to rationalize. Maybe she's talking about something else. It doesn't mean what I think it does. But then she kept going, her voice dripping with amusement. He works all the time, so it's easy. He doesn't even notice when I'm out with you. Plus, I've got him wrapped around my finger. Even if he did notice, I could talk my way out of it. I stopped breathing. My body felt frozen in place, but my mind was racing a mile a minute. Was this real? Was I actually hearing this? My hands balled into fists, my nails digging into my palms so hard it hurt. I didn't know if I wanted to cry, scream, or punch something. The guy laughed, a low, smug sound that made my skin crawl. As long as it works out for us, who cares? He said. It's not like you're going to get caught. Her response? Another laugh, this one even more condescending. Exactly. He's so clueless it's almost sad how easy it's been. And the best part? He thinks I'm stressed about school and that's why I've been distant. It's pathetic. I felt like I was going to throw up. My heart was pounding so hard I thought they might hear it from the other room. I wanted to burst in, to confront her, to scream at both of them for making me feel like such a fool. But I couldn't move. It was like my body had shut down completely. I stood there for what felt like forever, just listening to them. The guy said something about how they should be careful, but she brushed him off, saying I'd never suspect a thing. That was the moment I realized I didn't know her at all. This person sitting on the couch, laughing at me behind my back, wasn't the woman I thought I'd been building a life with. She was a stranger, someone I'd apparently never really known. The sound of a bottle clinking snapped me out of my daze. They were drinking, probably out of the wine glasses we bought together on a date night. The anger started bubbling up again, but this time it felt different. It wasn't just anger, it was heartbreak, betrayal, humiliation, all rolled into one giant, suffocating wave. I knew if I walked into that room, I wouldn't be able to control myself. I'd say or do something I might regret. So instead, I turned around. I walked back down the hallway, grabbed the takeout bags, and quietly slipped out of the apartment. I made sure to close the door softly so they wouldn't know I'd been there. As I walked down the stairs, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold onto the bags. My vision blurred, and I felt like I was suffocating, but I kept moving. I got into my car and just drove. I didn't even know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stay there. I couldn't face her, not yet. I don't remember much about the drive. It was like I was on autopilot, just going through the motions of steering, braking, and accelerating without really thinking about where I was headed. My hands wouldn't stop shaking, and my chest felt tight, like I couldn't get enough air. I ended up at a friend's place, not someone Kay knew, which was important. I didn't want her finding me. When I got there, I must have looked like a total wreck because my buddy didn't even ask questions. He just opened the door and let me crash on his couch. I think I mumbled something about needing a place to stay, but I didn't go into details. I couldn't. The words just wouldn't come out. Instead, I laid there, staring at the ceiling, my mind running in a million different directions. I kept replaying everything I'd heard in the apartment, her words, his laugh, the clink of that stupid wine bottle. It was like a broken record that I couldn't shut off. Part of me wanted to go back, kick the door open, and confront them both. But the other part of me, the part that was still in shock, knew it wouldn't change anything. She'd cheated. She'd lied. And she laughed about it like it was some big joke. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My body was sore from tension, and my head was pounding from lack of sleep. But I knew what I had to do. I grabbed my phone and started blocking her everywhere, phone number, social media, email, even Venmo. Anything I could think of. I didn't want her to have any way to contact me. I didn't leave a note or send a text explaining why. I figured she'd figure it out soon enough. A part of me wanted her to feel the same confusion and emptiness I felt when I overheard her talking about me like I was nothing. Let her sit in the silence and wonder what happened. I didn't owe her anything, not after what she'd done. The first day after blocking her was chaos. My phone buzzed constantly with calls and texts from unknown numbers. I didn't have to guess who it was. She'd clearly started trying to reach me from different phones. The messages were all over the place. At first, they were casual, like, "Hey, are you okay? I haven't heard from you." Then they turned apologetic, "If I did something wrong, please let me fix it." By the end of the day, they were downright frantic. "Where are you? Please, we need to talk." I ignored every single one. She could have called 1,000 times, and I still wouldn't have picked up. What was the point? I'd already heard everything I needed to know. Her excuses didn't matter. Her apology didn't matter. Nothing she said could undo what I'd heard with my own ears. By the second day, the messages started coming through mutual friends. I got texts like, "Kay's freaking out. She's really worried about you, and she said you're not responding, and she doesn't know why. Is everything okay?" I still didn't respond. I wasn't ready to tell anyone what had happened. It was too fresh, too humiliating. The thought of saying the words out loud, "My girlfriend was cheating on me," made me feel sick. About a week later, I got the next piece of the puzzle. A mutual friend, completely oblivious to the situation, mentioned something that made my blood run cold. The guy Kay had been with wasn't some random classmate or coworker of hers. He was one of mine. I couldn't believe it at first. It didn't make sense. Why would she cheat on me with someone from my office? Then I started putting the pieces together, the way she'd casually mention his name in conversation, like it was no big deal. How she suggested we invite him out for drinks once, saying, "He's cool. You'd like him." At the time, I didn't think much of it. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? But now it all made sense. The study sessions that went late into the night, the times she claimed she was too tired to hang out after work, all the excuses I'd brushed off because I didn't want to seem paranoid. They weren't harmless coincidences. They were lies. What made it worse was finding out that this guy had a girlfriend, not just some casual fling, a serious, long-term girlfriend who also worked in our office. So it wasn't just me Kay was betraying. They were both playing this sick, twisted game behind their partners' backs, and I'd been too blind to see it. I thought about confronting him at work, but I couldn't decide if it was worth it. What would I even say? "Hey, I know you've been screwing my girlfriend. Care to explain?" It sounded ridiculous. Besides, the thought of dragging our personal drama into the office made me cringe. I didn't want to be that guy, the one who brings his messy personal life to work. But at the same time, I couldn't just let him get away with it.